Hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of my overview of the extremely rare Nutshack Season 1 DVD. In the last video, we looked at Disc 1, and so naturally, in this video, we're looking at Disc 2. The video that I made on Disc 1 proved to be one of the hardest videos I ever had to edit, so hopefully it's not as hard for me to make this video in comparison. If you haven't watched the video that I made on Disc 1 yet, I highly recommend that you watch it before you watch this video in order to better understand everything that I say in this video. Actually, never mind that. If you want to better understand this whole thing, then I highly recommend that you watch my review of the Nutshack itself before watching my video on Disc 1, before watching this video on Disc 2. For those of you who have already caught up with this whole thing, let us proceed forward. So once again, like with Disc 1, we start off with a copyright disclaimer before we head on into the main menu, which doesn't really have much difference from Disc 1's menu, but that's beside the point. You got the same stuff as you can see: play all, episode select, and bonus features. Going on to the episode select, we have the final 4 episodes of Season 1, and once again, I have to give credit where credit is due. This menu design does look surprisingly really good. I would not expect menus this good looking from a DVD based on this extremely obscure, extremely low quality cartoon. But here we are. So then we move back to the main menu and then we head to the special features, in which for whatever reason character bios are listed on here as well. Now, when I made my video on the first disc, I went over the character bios in great detail. That took up like half of the video, I want to say. And for some reason, they included the character bios onto Disc 2 as well, and they are exactly the same as they were on Disc 1. There's no differences at all. And because I really don't feel like spending 12 years trying to edit and censor all of these bios, we're gonna skip them and we're gonna focus on the 2 exclusive bonus features that are on here: Exposing NS and Retrospective. I've got to admit it, as embarrassing as it is, I had no idea that Exposing NS meant Exposing Nutshack, and I got really curious as to what the hell this was supposed to be. So we start off Exposing NS with a lot of different footage from the actual Nutshack itself, footage that I have to censor because I don't want to risk any copyright issues, before we cut to the title card of this 22-minute behind-the-scenes featurette exposing the Nutshack. Guys, I can't believe it. The Nutshack's about to get cancelled. And there he is, John Nutshack himself. The man, the legend, the genius behind it all. This is a genuine, honest-to-God behind-the-scenes featurette for the Nutshack, and it's one of the strangest things that I've ever seen. And it's only strange because of the fact that it's the Nutshack, and that's it. Yeah, there you go, I said it, guys. I said the line. Are you happy now? God, it feels so weird seeing, like, you know, real people, like the people that created this show, juxtaposed alongside footage of the cartoon that they created. Like, yeah, that's a normal thing to expect from a behind-the-scenes featurette, but again, this is the Nutshack that we're talking about, so it just feels very weird and cursed, you know? I already said this when I looked at the Control-Alt-Delete DVD in an earlier video, but this just reminds me that yes, real people worked on this show. These are real human beings that created this thing, and it sure as hell doesn't feel like it. I could make the obvious joke that, like, oh, the Nutshack feels like it's AI generated, but like, come on, we all know AI could never make the Nutshack, okay? AI could never. Neither humans nor AI could create the Nutshack. The Nutshack created itself. I look at footage of all of these, like, real people that worked on this show, voice actors and producers and writers and whatever, and it just makes me think, like, where are these people today? What are they doing today? How do you just casually live life knowing that you contributed to creating the greatest cartoon ever made? The only cartoon that matters. That's what I want to know. Where are these people today? I really want to know. It must be very interesting having this show be on your resume, honestly. Now, for the most part, this is a fairly standard behind-the-scenes documentary for the Nutshack, ignoring the fact that this is the Nutshack, that is. But there's still quite a fair amount of interesting things about this featurette, and we're gonna go over them. So the first thing that I want to go over is this one segment of the featurette where we have a tour of the office where all of the magic happens. We get to see the people that work on the show, we get a tour of the office environment, and reminder, this is all for the Nutshack. This is, you know, I wouldn't think much of this if this was any other cartoon. I would just think, oh, that's pretty cool, and then that's it. But because this is the Nutshack, it just feels crazy and bizarre to me. But it is also very fascinating to watch. And once again, it does serve as a reminder that yes, real people worked on this thing, even though it's very hard to believe. Also, there's a Stewie Griffin action figure in this office, because of course there is. There you go, guys. The Nutshack Family Guy crossover is finally real. Again, it feels very strange seeing a real, like, legitimate cartoon, what I perceive as being a real actual cartoon, being referenced in something related to the Nutshack. I gotta be real. I don't know if this behind the scenes featurette is on YouTube or anything like that. I don't know if it's available online, but if it's not, then yeah, for sure I gotta rip this. The world needs to see this thing, for sure. The world needs to see this thing. And so after that, we move on to the animation, and I know there's a lot of very obvious jokes that I can make here, given the notoriously poor quality of the show's animation, but I have to make it clear that I have nothing but the utmost respect for the people that worked on this show. I'm not looking at this whole thing to mock or ridicule the people that worked on this show. I'm just simply expressing my fascination with learning this much about the behind-the-scenes development process for the fucking Nutshack, you know, it's insane. There are a lot of cartoons that I've covered on the Search for the Worst Cartoon where I can't help but wonder, what was it like actually working on this show? What was the behind-the-scenes development process for these shows like? I know that for a large majority of these shows, these are very normal development processes. There's no like crazy outlandish stuff or anything like that. On very rare occasions, you get something like High Guardian Spice, which went through development hell. But I want to imagine most of the shows that I cover on the Search for the Worst Cartoon have very normal, very healthy development processes. And yet, I can't help but imagine what would a behind-the-scenes featurette for the making of Pixel Pinky look like. I want to know what the development for Biatches was like. I want to know what led to this show becoming the way that it is today. Now, obviously, this does not apply to every single cartoon that I've covered on the Search for the Worst Cartoon. Something like Rubik the Amazing Cube is like, yeah, I don't care to know what the behind-the-scenes stuff for this show was like. I already know exactly how it turned out. A bunch of corporate businessmen were hungry for money, and so they decided to come up with the most creatively bankrupt idea for a cartoon ever. This was the 80s, and toy commercials disguised as cartoons were the big thing. Rubik's Cubes were also big during this time, and so here we are. That's how we got Rubik the Amazing Cube. We don't need a behind-the-scenes featurette to explain that. And then we have the Nutshack, which is one of the more interesting cartoons covered on this series, and here we are with a surprisingly in-depth featurette going over the behind-the-scenes development for the show, and I can't help but find it very fascinating. I don't know if any of the people that worked on this show are aware of the meme reputation that their show has or had at one point, but I want to imagine they would embrace it, you know? If I was involved with the creation of a cartoon that is more or less the room of cartoons, I would fucking embrace that, man. I would never be ashamed of that, ever. It's just so fascinating to see like something like this, like behind the scenes footage of the Nutshack being worked on, looking at like the animation process, them going over how the show is animated. It's fascinating to me. And truth be told, I strangely adore the trashy 2000s vibe that the show's art style has. I understand that it's not for everyone. I understand that it's not a super appealing art style, but god damn it, I kind of adore it, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. Alright, so after that, our next segment is dedicated to going over the behind the scenes development for the theme song that we all know and love, where we get to see Nump, the man himself, Mr. I Got Grapes What You Watchin' Son, the man who provides us with this beautiful theme song. Again, I have no idea if this thing was available back in 2016 when the show became a meme, but if it wasn't, well, I'm showing it off right now. This is f***ing insane to look at. As you can see, it's produced by Stephen King, you know, not to be confused with that other guy, and it's truly fascinating looking at the making of a meme right here, I'm not gonna lie. I can only imagine what it must have been like to create this song, not knowing that it would become a meme less than a decade after the show would come out. So that's pretty much where exposing the NS comes to an end, and so we move on now to a retrospective for the show, which for the most part is just more behind the scenes stuff for the show. It's another 20-minute long featurette, and I want to imagine it goes over, like, you know, the memories that were had working on the first season of this show, which is honestly, that's unironically kind of sweet, I'm not gonna lie. I want to imagine there were fond memories that were had working on this show amongst the crew behind it, in the same way there are fond memories to be had with the show itself from us, from the people who would meme it back in 2016. It's crazy how, like, 2016 was both the year that everything went to shit, and yet it was also the last great year at the same time. I don't know if I would ever want to relive 2016 because obviously, yeah, it was nowhere near as bad as how things are now, but there were still a lot of shitty things about 2016, and a lot of the shitty things that have come out of 2025 happened because of a lot of the shitty things that happened in 2016. But looking back on it in retrospect, it wasn't all doom and gloom. It was only 99% doom and gloom. Now, there isn't a whole lot for me to go over with this retrospective, but something that I do find interesting is the fact that at one point they show off a storyboard for what would become a season 2 episode for the show. Now, here's the thing that makes this interesting. The Nutshack ran from 2007 to 2011. Season 1 was 2007, Season 2 was 2011. This is a storyboard for a Season 2 episode, and this DVD came out sometime between 2008 to 2009, long before Season 2 came out. Only now do I question, why was there a 4-year gap between the release of Season 1 and the release of Season 2? And then things got even weirder after that. One night, I was bored out of my mind, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna look up videos relating to the Nutshack that came out before it became a meme in 2016. I ended up finding some interesting stuff. I found this video from 2008 of this, like, guy going over this Nutshack shirt that he has, which, I'm saying this completely unironically, this is f***ing sick. This is an extremely cool shirt, I'm not joking at all, and you gotta love the use of Windows Movie Maker for this video, very 2008. This is, to my knowledge, the only, like, fan video that was made for the Nutshack before it became a meme. I don't know, I just wanted to briefly acknowledge this video, I don't care. And then I ended up coming across what I believe to be the official YouTube channel for the Nutshack, a channel that has long been dormant since the late 2000s, unsurprisingly. The channel contains a lot of different promotional material for the show. A lot of the trailers and whatever that I reference in the first video that I made on this DVD, they're included on this YouTube channel, so you know, at least some of this stuff is available online. And so, included on this YouTube channel are 3 videos advertising Season 2. 2 of these 3 videos are general promos for Season 2 before it came out, advertising that the season would premiere on August 6th. You want to know when these 2 videos came out? July 31st, 2008. Not 2011. 2008. And then the 3rd video is an advertisement for a specific episode of Season 2, uploaded on August 7th, 2008, one day after Season 2 supposedly premiered, advertising that this episode would come out on August 13th, which was a Wednesday. August 6, 2008, the day that Season 2 supposedly premiered, was also a Wednesday. So presumably every episode of Season 2 that would come out, they would come out on a Wednesday. Well, now this just begs the question, where the hell did the 2011 release date come from? Where did it come from that the Nutshack Season 2 came out in 2011 and not 2008? There we go, guys, even more previously undocumented Nutshack lore. Contrary to popular belief, the Nutshack Season 2 did not come out in 2011, it came out in 2008. I don't know why I'm so passionate about this. I don't think anyone really cares all that much. This doesn't affect Season 2's availability or anything like that, you know. Season 2 isn't lost media, you know. You could watch Season 2 easily with no problems online, but it's still an interesting find nonetheless. It's crazy, because of this extremely rare DVD, I ended up finding out something that we got wrong about the Nutshack. Turns out, the show didn't last from 2007 to 2011, it lasted from 2007 to 2008. If Season 2 actually came out in 2008, then where the hell did the whole 2011 thing come from? And if Season 2 actually did premiere in 2011, then, well, why was there a 3-year gap between when it was supposed to premiere and when it actually premiered? I tried looking as hard as I could not find any articles suggesting that like Season 2 was delayed for one reason or another. The fact that we have promos, we have like advertisements, TV advertisements for Season 2 shows that like, yeah, Season 2 was practically completed. So I have no idea where this 2011 release date came from, but I guess it's not true. Season 2 did not come out in 2011. Thanks to this extremely rare DVD, I have corrected a common misconception surrounding the show. One that I don't think anyone cares about at all, but I figured it wouldn't hurt to bring it up, you know? It doesn't hurt to go over even more previously undocumented Nutshack lore, you know what I'm saying? I sped through the entire featurette to see if there was anything else interesting that I could say about it, but unfortunately there wasn't really anything for me to say about it. It is a retrospect. What are the odds? I don't know what else I was expecting from it. It's more behind the scenes stuff, which is, you know, it's interesting to watch on its own, but I don't know if there's anything I could add to it that would make it more interesting than it already is. I can only hope that like this stuff is available online, but if it's not, then yeah, I'll be sure to rip it. Everyone deserves the privilege to watch these behind the scenes featurettes for the Nutshack, but I'm the only one that has the privilege of watching them from the comforts of my home on my own TV. I thought there would be something funny to say for the retrospective, but I don't think there is. I think it's like they go over like each episode of Season 1 and that's it. It's 20 minutes long. Again, it's probably interesting as its own thing, but trying to like commentate over it and like add in new things, it's like, yeah, I don't think that's possible. And so here is where the unnecessarily in-depth overview of the extremely rare Nutshack Season 1 DVD comes to an end. I am forever grateful for the fact that I own this thing. I will cherish this thing for all eternity. Even if I got this thing long after the show became a meme, long after its meme reputation died out, I'm still grateful for owning it. I still consider this the holy grail. I remember when I started this whole thing of like buying Search for the Worst cartoon DVDs for novelty purposes, I looked at this thing and I thought, yeah, in my dreams, it would be amazing to own this, but that's never gonna happen. And look where we are now, look where we are now. I officially own it in my possession, just like that. What are the f***ing odds, man? What are the odds? I really wish they released Season 2 on DVD. I know that if they did, it would be just as rare as this DVD, if not potentially even rarer than the Season 1 DVD, but I don't care. This thing costed $200 for me to get, and I've gotta say, money well spent, baby. Money well spent. Anyways, that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing, as it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see you all next time. Adios.